Okay, so Cherry. I was really looking forward to watching this movie in the very beginning when I first saw pictures of it and trailers and images. I was like, damn. So this is the Russo Brothers' first film since Endgame. It's a story by Nico Walker. He wrote a book called Cherry while he was in prison, I think. Anyways, so it was their chance to do something different, other than big action CGI movies. And their attempt was interesting. A couple things to point out. First of all, the cinematography. While every shot looked great, it definitely got old for specific reasons. Essentially, within the cinematography, they added really weird and sometimes obnoxious color grading and editing, and it was kind of distracting a lot of times. Like, they would have a great shot of Tom Holland and he's riding in the car, and then they get another shot of another guy, he's on the other side. But then for some reason they decide to put the two shots together. So it's a big long image of that. And then also Tom Holland like takes a drug, and then he's like, whoa, and everything's black and white because there's no color in drugs. It's very fake. But then he sees a girl and like, oh dang, she's colorful and stuff, and it's like pretty cliche, and like it made sense. It's interesting for the most part. It's just everybody kind of already knows that style, and everybody's already tried that. It was just kind of cringy sometimes as well. The sound design was a little bit weird. It felt like it wasn't like the first 35 minutes didn't really feel like a movie. They decided to do so many weird elements in the beginning that it really makes you uncomfortable a bit. You're like, why did they do that? Why did they do this? Why is there so much slow-mo? It's just really weird. It finally starts to pick up, or at least become more interesting in the like once he gets into the war, and it finally becomes a normal aspect ratio, and it feels like a normal movie. It gets intense, really good drone shots, long takes, cool stuff like that. There was a lot of really intense moments that definitely was enhanced with music and camera work. But sometimes, instead, what happened, at least towards the beginning, is sometimes that the attempt at enhancing the moment was kind of just ruined because of those weird editing choices that they decided to just like shove in. Also, the subject matter was somewhat well handled. It seemed like they could have worked on other ideas in the movie. Like they could have focused on some interesting ideas, but instead they just decided to focus on like how crazy it is, to get high and stuff and run around and rob banks. That was still fun to watch and it was crazy, but like they could have focused maybe more on the drug addiction, like the terribleness of that. Like all we saw was like well, no spoilers, but it didn't get as hurtful to the. I mean, it became okay. They could have expanded on it a lot more is what I'm trying to say. Okay. And then finally I want to talk about the acting in the movie, because the acting is just absolutely fantastic, specifically Tom Holland. He literally looks like a totally different person, which is like what everyone's talking about, and one of the best things, easily the best thing about the movie. Tom Holland looks freaking like an insane person towards the end of this movie, and then you just like feel so bad for him because he just wants his girlfriend to get help and stuff, and he just needs help. And the ending was great. Like once he got to the war and onward, it definitely got more interesting, and it was more watchable and felt like a real movie, like I was saying. But I want to add throughout the movie is the tone was a bit off because they would add like comedic narration over like dark subjects or intense moments, and then you're just like, why'd they do that? And like sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. A lot of people are saying that this is style over substance. They increase the style to distract from the substance. I think it's more like the substance was distracted by over stylizing the movie, and that was kind of no good for me. They should have just made it, at least like they should have made those little elements of interestingness more subtle, which they could have easily done, but they didn't. They decided to go way overboard and add crazy slow-mo and crazy, like the shots are fine, but then like they add slow-mo and music and weird sound design, and it's like, why? But yeah, guys, in the end, I mean, it was a fun watch. I don't know how rewatchable it is, since the subject matter could be a bit intense, Definitely some moments were definitely insane, but for that, it's definitely fun. Kind of. This is what I'm trying to say. It's like the tone was so weird, and I mean, it's just like a 6 out of 10. Honestly, for me, it was still great. There were a lot of great moments, especially Tom Holland. It's worth watching just for Tom Holland and the war stuff, and yeah, it's definitely a movie. If there's one word to describe it, bro, any movie from the Russo brothers, any movie with Tom Holland, I'd be down. Be like, yo, I don't even care. That because of that it makes this movie fun to watch and entertaining, and yeah. So I mean, definitely check it out. It's on Apple TV Plus, so I don't know how you guys would ever watch it, but yeah, it's a movie. All right, see you guys next time.